Hello everyone and welcome to the Week 1 battle of the APA Evolution Season 1 League as we, Goldoa Dragon, are taking on Trev the King, coach of the Houston Toxapexans. And we are, as you saw in the team builder that I've totally recorded as of recording this battle, definitely for sure, we are facing down an absolutely horrifying team with some absolutely horrifying mons. Now, I did do some mocks. I had mixed to decent success in those mocks, but as you guys can see, I have no idea how to flip so that my Pokemon are in front of me. But right now, I'm on the top of the screen, and my opponent is on the bottom of the screen. So just get used to that if it happens again, and if it doesn't, I don't know how to use Showdown. So anyway, this week, we are not going to be doing a live comm, we will be doing a post-comm, but this is Dan's first time seeing this battle. Welcome back, Dan. So if you guys are excited to see Dan once more, hopefully you guys enjoyed the draft analysis that has not actually been uploaded as of the time of recording this, so hopefully you guys enjoy that. A little bit of a breaking the fourth wall there. So, as we get started with this, every single one of my mocks, Dan, I did like 4 or 5, because I was like, it's week 1, you know, I gotta make a good impression.
Of course.
Every single one of my mocks started the exact same way.
Okay.
So the same exact lead for me, the same exact lead for my opponent.
Yep.
Every single person did it the same way, and I knocked like 4 or 5 different people.
Okay.
So that was that I was
Tapu
going to
Koko and Alakazam.
Close. Tapu Koko and Swampert.
Not
Swampert. Swampert is 50%. Now, one thing I noticed, as you guys know in the team builder, is that his team is horrifyingly weak to Bug, which is amazing because it allowed my Mon to learn U-turn, which is a Bug type move. So as we go through this game, the strategy is basically just click U-turn as often as possible and eventually win the game. That's not the right screen for that. So I'm going to click play with the music off. I will put my own music on in the background so you guys don't get super bored. And as you guys might expect, how do I pause this? Oh god, how do I pause this? Is there a way for me to do that without scrolling down?
Don't think so.
Okay, we've got to go one step
back.
back.
Try K.
Got to go one step back so that we can see the pause button so I can click it. So there we go. Now I can see the pause button. I might just crop this screen out so that you guys can't. But anyway, as you guys might expect, in every single mock it went the same way, and in the battle it went the same way. I led Koko, he led Swampert. Now, my Koko is specifically designed to kill Swampert.
Yes.
That's the point. I put on a grass type move.
Yep.
Swampert's 4 times weak to it. So what do you think happens?
I think, well, the way you say that, the Swampert takes you down with an unexpected move.
So, I'm going to go for my Grass EMZ Bloom Doom, and he is going to eat his Rindo Berry, which is going to weaken the damage on Swampert, and he's going to go for an Earthquake, which is going to take me down to 1 HP.
Because
Living
you
on
have
1. Bulk.
Okay.
We got bulk.
Straight up bulk.
Yep, just enough bulk to live that. That was not a roll if he had no investment. I don't know if he had investment or not. I was guaranteed to survive. He actually max rolled me. I was probably hoping to live on more like 12%.
Wow.
But we live it. If he had any attacking investment, Koko's gone. Koko, which is sort of a win con for my team, just gone turn 1. Now, I had faced a Rindo Berry before.
Yep.
And in fact, this exact same situation happened. I live on a 5%. And I was like, okay, not ideal. The ideal switch, U-turn immediately, expect the Rindo Berry, U-turn to Rotom. Rotom's immune to ground type moves. If he goes for the Stealth Rock's first turn, Rotom can defog that. We're all set. We're good. I didn't do that.
Okay.
So, we're here now.
Here we are.
So he's at 46%. Now he has Celesteela, he has Volcarona, and he has Serena.
I know those ones.
Resist grass type moves.
Sure.
But none of them want to take a grass type move and then another move from top of the wall.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, fine. I can just go for the grass type move. It's pretty safe, pretty free. Don't have to worry or stress too much about it. So we're just going to go for it. And he is actually going to go out, as you can see, into his Serena. Now what this reveals right here, right there, leftovers. You saw that, right? You saw the leftovers?
I did
and then you
see
see on there it says item leftovers?
I do.
Yeah, so leftovers. Dan, what does it tell me when he's leftovers?
Well, it means that at the end of a turn, you get a little HP back.
Yep, but it also means he's not discarded.
You are correct.
Because you can only have 1 item.
Yes.
You knew that.
I did know that.
Yes.
That was knowledge I had.
So.
It was.
So, at this point I know he's not Scarfed, I know he's leftovers, and I know, did you see the damage that did? It did nothing. I don't know anything about his spread otherwise, because I have no attack investment in my special attack.
Yep.
So, but as you can see, the electric terrain's up for a few more turns. We're all set. I'm like, hey, we out. So we're going to go for a U-turn, bug-type move. Like I said, he's very weak to it. And we're going to do what I should have done in the first place.
Rotom's
and go into Rotom.
Done.
Rotom does not resist a grass-type attack.
No.
Arguably, I should have gone into Incineroar. I was
At
worried
that point.
he would go for a fighting-type move.
Sure.
Predicting that. Because Coco would die.
Right.
Because no matter what.
Of course.
And Incineroar is the most obvious switch. Now, Rotom's Ghost-type.
Yes.
What's Ghost-type?
You cannot hit it with a fighting type.
Can't hit with fighting type deck. That's why I went into Rotom right there.
Yeah.
But he's just goes straight for the Trop Kick. So at this point, I'm saying to myself, okay, I've never played this guy before, right? So a lot of Pokemon, as you'll learn, and any e-sport or regular sport, is learning your opponent.
Of course.
The first time you play somebody, anything can happen.
Right.
You never know because you don't know their playstyle.
Right.
The second time you play somebody, you should improve. You should be better.
Right.
And so I looked at that and I said, he didn't try to determine or read anything I was going to do.
He just reacted to the Pokemon you put in.
Yeah. Well, he tried to kill Coco.
Yes. Yes.
Now, maybe
yes.
he was worried about the fighting type attack, and I would go into Rotom. But the other safe switch-in right there is Scizor, which is not weak to fighting, and it resists grass.
Right.
So arguably, the best switch right there would have been Scizor. Technically, it would have been Incineroar for the attack that actually happened, but Scizor would have been the best given the circumstance that I didn't know.
Naturally.
But he didn't react to, oh, maybe Scizzor's coming in.
Right.
He didn't react to, oh, maybe Incineroar's coming in.
Right.
So, this point, I'm getting information, I'm learning. Okay. So Dan, what would you do if you were here? And you don't know any of the moves anything has.
Well, at that point, if you found out that this person does not anticipate, you would go for a Pokemon that can either resist most of the attacks that this Pokemon will go for, resist a specific attack that would hurt Rotom more, or something else.
Yeah. So he's a physical attacker.
Yes.
And Burn has your physical attack.
Yes.
Rotom gets an attack that burns you.
Yes.
So I said he's not going to predict anything right now. He knows that I can't kill him with anything because he resists electric type attack.
Right.
So I'm just going to go for the burn.
Perfect.
And I get my leftovers. He is leftovers.
Right.
We see that I'm faster because my leftovers came first. So out comes the burn. He goes for a knockoff, which is a dark type attack and removes my leftovers. Sad day.
Sure.
But because we burned him, we live in that.
Right.
Because the burn halves his attack. So we're up. He's no longer getting back to the leftovers recovery. He goes into Swampert. His like Hex, which actually does double damage if you're statist. But then I decide Swampert's also a physical attack. So I'm just going to go for the Will-O-Wisp again. I can kill this thing next turn with a Hex.
Perfect.
Burn.
Yep.
And I have my Defogger in right now, which is my hazard removal. So if he
Right.
decides to go for Stealth Rock,
Which he does.
then I can, very next turn, say, not feeling it. Defog. That'll allow him to take me out with a Scald, which is fine. I don't need Rotom anymore because I
Done
can
what
go
you needed to do.
anything and kill the Swampert. So
Right.
I decided to go into Scizor and just reveal that I have U-turn and kill the Swampert, which
Right.
now cannot set up rocks anymore, which is great. So at this point, I had a choice of which Mon I wanted to go into. And honestly, I had a very tough time deciding here which Mon I wanted to go into.
Right.
It was really, what do I want to bait in right now? If I go into Incineroar, then he's going to go into his either his Alakazam, pending what item he has, or his Lycanroc. Neither of which my Incineroar wants to deal with.
Right.
And if I go into Coco, which has 1 HP, if he has a Choice Scarf Mon, he's going to go into it. If not, he's going to go into Lycanroc, which has a priority and can kill him. Didn't want to deal with that.
Right.
If I go into Nidoqueen, Alakazam, most obvious switch-in. But he could have gone into a couple other things, and I was like, maybe he'll go into Celesteela? Maybe? Which I would have been okay with, because I could have set up hazards on that thing forever,
Yeah.
and not had to stress about it. And Gardevoir was not coming in yet, because it was Choice Scarf, and it was a sweeper at the end of the game, and I didn't want to risk that. So those
Right.
were my choices, and I really kind of was trying to figure out which one would be best. Maybe Incineroar would have been the best
Okay.
at the end of the day.
Sure.
But I went into Nidoqueen, and at this point, Nidoqueen's poison type.
Yep.
He's a Psychic type. Psychic is super effective against poison.
Yes.
And Dark is
Super effective against Psychic and also does not take damage from Psychic.
exactly. So Incineroar, Fire
Would
Dark
have been
type.
the move.
Well, no. At
No.
this point, now that I'm here,
Yes.
is Incineroar the move.
This
This thing learns a fighting type.
In particular because this person has shown that they do not anticipate.
Yes, and that is exactly why I don't go into Incineroar yet, because I'm still trying to determine that.
Sure.
At this time in the game, like now, having played it, I'm aware.
Right.
But at this time in the game, I was still nervous.
Right.
And if he just pops off with a Focus Blast and kills Incineroar,
That's no good.
that's really bad.
Right.
That's actually terrible. So, I decided, if he's going to do that, he's going to do it now.
Yes.
He's going to predict that now.
Right.
So, Gardevoir resists Psychic
Yes.
and Fighting.
there you go.
So I decided, let's make the middle ground play. Let's go out and Gardevoir. And at this point, we trace, which reveals to me his ability, and he shows me the Psychic. So what does that tell me? Same thing as before.
No anticipation.
Yeah, which is great. But at this point, I'm the one who can make some sort of recall.
Right.
He's not staying with Alakazam. I brought my Gardevoir in.
Right.
There's no way he thinks that I'm not going to click Shadow Ball.
Right.
Click something super effective. Click Moonblast even, which is going to do a lot of damage to him.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to switch out. Now he's got two options that resist Moonblast, which are Volcarona and Celesteela.
Yeah.
Both of those. Celesteela is weak to Electric. Volcarona is neutral to Electric.
Mm-hmm.
So I figure, even if he stays with Alakazam, worst case scenario, I click Thunderbolt and hit the Alakazam. You know, like,
Yeah.
which is also neutral then.
Sure.
So I'm going to click Thunderbolt as he goes right out into Celesteela, and it does a clean 50%. But he has leftovers, so he gets back to 56%,
Right.
which means I can't guarantee the kill the next turn.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like this because he is a Steel type, and Steel
Right.
type is super effective against Fairy type. So, I have a few answers to Celesteela, so I decided he's probably not going to predict anything. Let's just go into Incineroar and see what he wants to do. It's probably Leech Seed, admittedly, and I could have stayed in and gone for a Thunderbolt. But,
Right, but you've got the Fire type against the Steel.
yeah, got the Fire type against the Steel, so resist that. He's not going to go for a Ground type move. He hasn't shown me that he's predicting that kind of thing.
Right.
So Leech Seed, there's no prediction for that. You know, it just exists. And it's just free because I don't have any other grass types.
Right.
And so I was like, sure, there's no prediction for that. He's just free to do it. Now, admittedly, one thing about this is that Gardevoir, because it had come in on the Alakazam, had I stayed in and he clicked Leech Seed, I had Magic Guard, which means I can't take passive damage. So Leech Seed actually would have done nothing.
Wow.
And I only just realized that right now.
Well, now you know.
Yes. Well, I mean, I would have.
It's my Super Short Show.
So, I go into Incineroar, I'm expecting the Protect here, there's the Protect, but I am Choice Banded, which means I can click one move and continue to click that one move. So yeah, he's going to take some passive recovery there, but I'm just going to keep going for Flare Blitz. It's Choice Banded, it's going to do 70 clean percent to the Lycanroc, and picks up a 10% chance to burn, because Showdown hacks are real. His 10% on Showdown is not 10%. Like, it doesn't feel like it at all. Now, yes, he does 70%, but then I'm going to take 20% recoil, he's going to take 12% back from the Leech Seed, so there's no reason for me to stay in right here. He's going to go for the Accelerock, he's burned, he's not doing anything. At this point, I decide Nidoqueen, just set up some hazards, you know? Swampert's dead, I don't lose anything. He shows me Drill Run, which is scary. He also shows me Life Orb, which is scary, because he's doing a lot of damage, even burnt. But we are going to be able to take 2 and be able to set up my Stealth Rocks, which does 50% to Volcarona, and Toxic Spikes, which poisons anything on switching. Now Alakazam comes in. Alakazam, like I said, has Magic Guard, so it can't take passive damage. So no Stealth Rock damage, and the poison won't do anything to you.
Alright.
But Nidoqueen has admittedly done its job.
Right.
It got up the hazards it needs to get. And so, do you think that I should switch it out? Knowing that he probably doesn't get a predict.
The intuition would be to switch it to something that can resist the attack that it would give to the Nidoqueen.
And I agree
which would
that
be
intuition.
a psychic type attack.
Most likely.
Yes.
Yeah. I agree with that on principle, but because Nidoqueen's so damaged,
might as well let it go out and get your switch in.
Yeah, get a safe switch into something. So at this point, he actually goes for the Shadow Ball, showing me that he doesn't necessarily predict the first time, but he expects you to make the same move the second time.
Sure.
So he expected me to go into Gardevoir, because this is another opportunity that I could have gone into Incineroar, which also resists Ghost.
Right.
And that would have, done virtually nothing. So, but I let my Nidoqueen go down, because there's really no reason to keep it alive.
Right.
So that goes down. And at this point, I'm going to go out into my Scizor, which resists Psychic, and is able to, I was worried about him being Choice Scarfed.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking maybe he's Choice Scarfed to outspeed my top Pokemon.
Right.
And so I'm going to go to Scizor. I have the Akka Berry, so like the Rindo Berry stopped the Grass type damage, that would stop the Fire type damage.
Right.
So if he goes for like Hidden Power Fire, fine. Proves me that he's not Choice Scarf, which is really important. Mm-hmm. And 2, I eat it, I go for a U-turn, and I kill it.
Right.
But I decided, instead of going for a U-turn, I'm going to go for a knockoff, because knockoff's going to get rid of the item of whatever he decides to switch in, because I really didn't expect him to stay in with his Alakazam. So he's going to take some Stealth Rocks and Celesteela, and I go for the knockoff and bring it down to 50% again, and get rid of its leftovers. At this point, I'm going to go for another knockoff, as he goes for a substitute. Now, this is a really interesting sequence. He's at 7% health, but I go for a knockoff, and it doesn't break his substitute, because knockoff does more damage than have an item, and I've already knocked that away.
Right.
Now, I'm sort of bluffing that I'm choiced. I'm admittedly sort of trying to bluff that
I was just thinking that,
Choice Bandit or something, or Choice Scarf, Scizor, or something. But I'm not.
Right.
I have the Akka Berry. And at this point, he's just going to go for the Leech Seed. Now, at this point, he's going to be back to 17%. Now, keep in mind how much health he has. He needs 25% to make a substitute, right? So I'm going to go for another knockoff and break the substitute. He's going to go for another leech seed expecting me to switch out, but I'm not going to. He's at 26%. Now at this point, I'm going to prove that I'm not choiced by going for the U-turn, which puts him under 25%, so he can't make another substitute. I didn't need to kill it this turn. I couldn't, admittedly.
Right.
And he could have gone for like a protect there, but protect wouldn't have salvaged anything. All it would have done is prove that I'm not choiced.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go out into my Incineroar, and he is going to pop off the Air Slash, which is really interesting. The reason that's really interesting is now we have seen all 4 of his moves, and there is not a Steel-type move there, which means Gardevoir is perfectly safe against this thing. So that's one really interesting thing that his Air Slash showed me. The second interesting thing that his Air Slash showed me is that it doesn't kill Incineroar, so he's not offensively invested at all, and Incineroar is faster than this, and so we are going to be able to kill it with whatever move I choose to go for, which in this case is just going to be the Flare Blitz. The reason is that it's not going to kill me with the recoil, and it was safe against all of his mons that he could go into. At this point, I'm going to do the same thing I did with Nidoqueen and let Incineroar go down to his Alakazam Shadow Ball and go back into my Scizor safely. He's going to go for another Shadow Ball. I'm still not sure if he's Choice Scarfed, so I'm going to knock off here, see if he's Scarfed. He's Focus Sash, which means he's going to survive, but I have the Bullet Punch, which allows me to take out the Alakazam as he goes out into the Volcarona.
Which takes a hefty dose from the rocks.
As Bug and Fire type, it takes 50% from Stealth Rocks. Not what it wants. And it gets poisoned. So, that's what I needed, because this thing is terrifying.
Yeah.
This thing is I just don't have an answer to it. I let my 2 checks to it go down for Nidoqueen and Rotom, and I'm stuck where I have no answer to Nidoqueen. Or to Volcarona.
Volcarona, yeah.
I'm expecting to lose this game.
Yeah.
He clicks Quiver Dance. The only salvaging thing is that he's poisoned.
Sure.
So can I survive long enough? You know, that's kind of the question.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, Scizor's slower. He's probably gonna click Quiver Dance, but he might go for just a straight Fire type move. If he doesn't have the Quiver Dance or whatever, Scizor's not going to survive, even with the Aqua Berry from this range. It's still 4 times weak to it. So Volcarona, I'm just going to click Bullet Punch and expect my Scizor to go down. That's kind of what I'm anticipating.
Right,
Well,
do as much damage as you can.
I get a crit, 30%, and he goes for the Roost. Which does heals 50%.
Yeah.
Thankfully, the crit and the poison bring him back down to about 50%. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to click Knockoff here and get rid of whatever item he has. Now, if he has a Z move, I can't knock it off. But I know if I click Knockoff and it doesn't knock it off, he's
It's a
also
Z move, yeah.
So it gives me information. So he's going to go for the Roost, he outspeeds me, and I go for the Knockoff, and it proves nothing gets knocked off. He got a Z move. And he's down to 50% again. And he can't be at 50%. He cannot be at 50%, because if I click Bullet Punch right here and he goes for a Quiver Dance, then he's down way too low to kill me, to like win the game. You know, like he just can't win the game, because after the Bullet Punch plus the poison plus another Bullet Punch, he's gonna die.
Sure.
He can't do that. So he has to click Roost again. At this point, I say, I'm not gonna stay in here. I'm gonna U-turn out, predicting that. But he gets the Flame Body, which burns my Scizor for later, and as a physical attacker, doesn't like that. But I'm going to go into Coco here, set up the Electric Terrain, and if he goes for the Roost, which he did, then I am going to be able to get an attack off first, because he didn't click Quiver Dance. And Coco is specifically designed to kill Volcarona in one hit, because I have no other answer to Volcarona. It's terrifying mon on my team. So he's going to take some poison, be back where he was before, and Wild Charge is going to be able to take out the Volcarona. He gets Flame Body to proc again, but it doesn't matter because I was going to die to Wild Charge recoil anyway.
Right.
And now it's just Serena versus the world. Scizor's damaged. I show Roost. I show I outspeed. He shows Synthesis. So we're both doing all right. I'm going to go for the knockoff. He's going to go for the knockoff. And we're just kind of sitting here right now, trying to finish off this battle. Someone's got to come through. And Scizor, I decide, U-turn. Let's just go out into Gardevoir, which outspeeds this thing guaranteed. He's going to go for another knockoff here, which ends up not mattering at all. I don't need my Choice Scarf at this point. I can just click Moonblast, get the 2-0 victory, and that is going to be how this game ends. So great game to Trev. Absolutely horrifying. That Volcarona was terrifying. Thank God I got the rocks up and got them to stay, because otherwise I don't think I would have won that game. I mean, straight up, there was no way I could answer that Volcarona.
No, that 50% right off the bat was clutch.
Yeah, and the Roost plays, playing around that, showing my Scizor set as I did, I feel like I played that pretty well. And I think I made some misplays. Absolutely. Turn one I misplayed. I should have gone immediately onto Rotom and kept my Coco at full health, but I didn't. And that's just the way the cookies crumble sometimes, right? If I kept my Coco at full health, Turn 1, I go into Rotom, his Swampert goes for Earthquake, I go for a Will-O-Wisp, he probably sets up his rocks, I go for a Defog, I go for Hexes, I'm fine, I don't have to worry about it. Swampert's eventually got to switch out, and I get to Willow whatever comes in. Except if it's Volcarona, I Volt Switch out on that, maybe he goes for a Quiver Dance, Nidoqueen takes any hit from that. I mean, I've got answers, right? Like, so if it's early game, obviously Theory Modding, Theory Crafting is completely separate, like it's a totally different game I'm playing now in my head. Yeah. But like, that's the kind of thing, right? I think I misplayed turn 1.
Sure.
But I recovered.
Yeah.
And I don't think he made any misplays. Some people will say he should have Quiver Danced at the end of the game. I'm saying he was never in a position against my Scizor where he could Quiver Dance safely and not die to 2 bullet punches potentially and poison damage. Mm-hmm. Right? So I kept him out of that safe feeling position. Now, on the U-turn, could he have Quiver Danced? Absolutely. But he couldn't know that I was going to click U-turn there. Right. And that's the big thing. And I needed the damage from the U-turn, so I had to risk the Flame Body in order to allow Wild Charge to kill. So, thoughts?
Nope.
Great. This is week 1 of my Showdown experience on the APA Evolution League Season 1. Hope you all enjoy this battle and come back again in the future. I do enjoy the format of post-comming battles with Dan. I won't always do it with Dan. Sometimes I'll do it on my own. And you'll see a little bit of a different style depending on whether I'm with Dan and trying to really just explain Pokemon versus on my own where I'm just trying to go through the moves and explain and just kind of show you guys how a battle went down. But hopefully you guys enjoyed. Great game once again to Trev the King and the Houston Toxapexans. I don't know for sure if he's uploading. If he is, his link will be in the description below. It always is, as my opponents always will be. So go check him out if he is uploading. This is not an upload required league. It is an upload optional encouraged league. And I decided I wanted to upload it because, hey, throughout the season there are going to be so many hacks. We got 2 Flame Body procs. We got the Flare Blitz burn. We got crits up the wazoo. We got all sorts of things. So hopefully you guys are excited for the rest of this season. We have picked up our first win in Showdown, which is amazing, and I'm super excited for the rest of the season. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Dan, take us away. Bye! Those were the same volume? In my head they were. Alright, thank you all so much for watching. Take care, everybody.